again, Flosstube friends. Welcome back to my channel, Pages and Stitches. That's spelled pages, the number 3, stitches, and that's the same here as it is on Instagram. My name is Kelly, and I'm really excited to bring you today's update. I've been thinking about it all month, and so let's get into it. First and foremost, if you can hear my voice is a little scratchy, I don't know why. My throat has been like super dry recently, so if you notice I sound a little bit froggy, that's why. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really truly appreciate it. Today is Saturday, July 1st, and I want to bring you my June update. This is Flosstube number 20, which is awesome. So, okay, if you're new here, welcome. Thank you so much for clicking on my video and giving it a chance, giving me a try. I love making these floss tubes, and so I really hope that what I have to share with you is interesting and exciting enough to keep you coming back for more. And then, of course, if you're a returning subscriber, welcome back, friends. I love you so much. Thank you so much for coming back. I truly enjoy reading your comments every month. I recognize the names that are repeating. I've made some excellent friends that are always supportive and sharing their craft with me and mine with them, and it's just been fabulous. I really enjoy this platform to socialize and connect over a love of creating. So all that to say, thank you so much for clicking on my video today. If you're new here, as you can see behind me, I am a quilter as well. I film a video on quilting the same way I do on cross stitching every month. I call those videos my Quilter's Corner. I'm going to be filming that one later today. And so after this video is posted, just keep your eyes peeled because I'll have a Quilter's Corner posted. And so if you are interested at all in what's on my wall behind me, if you're a quilter yourself, if you're just curious, you know, hop over there and check those videos out. I really appreciate the support from fellow quilters, and I love finding fellow quilters on the channel, and that, you know, there's a lot of crossover between our crafts, so it's really cool that there's people out there who love all the same things I do. So I have a ton to share with you today, and which is why I've been so excited to film this video. I've got whips, I've got a new start, I've got a ton of haul, some really big plans for July, and then I also have a very special FFO that I was not anticipating, and now I have it, and I'm very excited to show it to you. So let's get down to it. I know I've got a lot. This might be a long one today. I love long videos, so I hope you guys do too. As per usual, I'm going to start with my reading update. The Pages and Stitches is representative of my third passion, which is reading. So let me show you the books that I read in the month of June. So the first 3 that I'm going to show you, I'm going to put pictures up on the screen because I read them on my Kindle app. I had started, at the recommendation of a friend, I started a series which is called the Salacious Players Club. It's a little bit outside of what I normally read, but I enjoyed it enough to read the first 3. So that would be the Salacious Players Club by Sara, Cate. The first one is Praise, the second one is Eyes on Me, and the third one is Give Me More. There's 2 more as far as I know. That's the completed series, so I might just go back and read the other 2 as well. And then you may recall from previous videos that I had started Lucy Score's Knock 'em Out series. And so I picked up the sequel and started working my way through this one. This is Things We Hide from the Light, again by Lucy Score. The 3rd book in this series, which I think is just going to be a trilogy, is about to come out in September. So I thought I need to hurry up and read this one. Somebody recommended Lucy Score to me on a video. I think it was my last video or the one before that. And I had already started that series. So if that was you, thank you so much. You clearly know my taste because I read it. All right, before I show you stitching, I'm going to give you just like a quick life update because there's some obvious things that I want to just draw attention to real quick. Number 1, last time I mentioned my hair was too long and I wanted to get it cut. I got it cut. So yes, if you're wondering, my hair is shorter now. It's not as short as I originally thought I wanted to go, but I'm just grateful that I don't have extra weight on my head. So yes, my hair is cut. I hope you like it. I love it. Number 2, I mentioned last time that I was working on getting a new tattoo. My tattoo is done. It is all colored here. It's very awkward to show because it's on the inside of my arm. So I'm going to post a picture so you can look at it better. It is a representation of Hades and Persephone, which are two of their story is like one of my favorites of Greek mythology. I'm a Greek mythology enthusiast. This other tattoo up here is Hecate. She's also a Greek goddess. So eventually this whole arm is going to be Greek mythology. That's the plan anyway. So the significance behind this piece is, it's just kind of personal to me. Like I said, they're two of the Greek gods that are my favorites. If you follow me on Instagram, you might have seen that I had written a short story about what I know of them, and then posted it on Instagram. So if you've already seen it, then thank you for reading that. I wrote that and I was very proud of it. So if you are curious to know the significance and why I got this tattoo, I will post that story in the comments and pin it to the top so that if you want to know the explanation behind it, I will put it there and you can tell me what you think. All right, one more thing. Today is July 1st, tomorrow being the 2nd. Tomorrow is my 34th birthday. Yay! I always thought aging was kind of scary, but my 30s have been kind of awesome. So far, this is the best decade of my life. I've got money. I've got freedom. If you don't know, I am husband-free and child-free by choice. So I'm just living my best life. And so I'm excited for 34 because it's just a continuation of a good decade. And for any of you out there who are just like, oh, I'm getting old, it's another birthday, I hate aging, just remember that aging is a privilege. Not everybody gets to do it, right? So when your next birthday comes around, if you're feeling sad because you feel like you're one step closer to the end, just remember that you got to age. You got that privilege. So I love birthdays, and tomorrow is mine. Today, after I film this, I'm celebrating by going shopping with my parents. We're actually going to some fabric stores and some craft stores, which is always enjoyable. And then tomorrow I'm going to go see The Little Mermaid, the new Little Mermaid. So that's my birthday plans. All right, let's get down to business. The first thing I want to show you is the FFO. It was it's a very special FFO, one I didn't expect that I was going to have. It was kind of a surprise to me, so I hope it's a surprise to you too. Okay, so you may recall, it was either in my last video, no, it wasn't the last video, the video before. I had received some, was it my last video? I don't remember. I had received a gift from my sister, my older sister. She no longer cross stitches, but she still has a ton of the supplies and patterns and stuff, so she just sent me everything. One of the things she sent me was a completed stitch of a Teresa Wensler, which was Lady of Shallot. I had called it Lady of Hallett because when I was looking at the pattern, I totally didn't even realize that there was a curly Q S in a different font in front of it. It's Lady of Shallot, and I'm an idiot. But anyway, she sent me a completed version of that, and I was like, you don't want this? And she was like, no, you can have it. It doesn't fit my aesthetic. So she stitched it, she enjoyed it, and now it's mine. So what I did was I framed it. Look at that. I'm trying to make sure I don't, there's my ring light. There's a candle over there. I'm trying to get all the glare off of there. Let me bring it in close so you can see. So she stitched this on what looks like a Lugana or some sort of even weave. It's just like a beige even weave. She used all the called for materials. There's some beading in there as well. So I framed this myself, and I'm going to kind of go through the process of how I did that with you real quick. I got this frame from Custom Frame Solutions. I like to shop from them because they're affordable. They're not the fastest when it comes to shipping, which is fine. But they always have sales. Like I bought this one at 40% off, so it's more affordable for me that way. However, I will say there's a little caveat. You do get what you pay for, right? So if you're gonna spring for a more affordable frame, just understand that it's not gonna be like the highest quality. And by that, let me show you what I mean. So for example, this frame has this cute little like bow pattern, but they don't match the corners, which for something as small, I really don't care about. But if I was to order a frame that was like thick, you know, and it had decorative elements on it, I would really like them to match up. So in that case, I might actually have to like take it to a professional. But this, I didn't even stitch this, so I wasn't gonna spring for a couple $100 for framing it, but I framed it myself. So I followed Laura Sinkin's tutorial. She is another floss tuber from Canada, and she's very sweet and cute, fellow redhead, love her. I will link her tutorial down below. Go check out her channel as well. She's just the cutest, and she's got the most unique products. I think in her most recent video, she just finished a cross-stitch piece into like a tote bag, which is cool. And anyways, all that to say, I followed her tutorial. So I didn't film it, but I will insert pictures. So first, I ironed the crap out of it. I didn't want to wash it necessarily because I wasn't sure if there was anything in here that might have bled. So I just kind of gave it a good once over to make sure that it wasn't dirty, and it wasn't, it was in pretty good shape. So, ironed it. And then on the foam board that came with the frame, I centered it, kind of pulled it tight, and then pinned it in the middle on each side and kept adjusting until I had it essentially centered where I wanted it. And then I made note of which fabric thread when pulled taut, lined up with the edge of the foam core. And in Laura's video, she takes just a spare piece of floss and stitches where that fabric thread is that lines up with the edge to make it a little bit more easy to see all the way around. So you have a frame where you know how far to pull it and pin it. I just did it by eyeballing it. Like I looked at the thread. I didn't need to do the stitching. And so pinned it all the way around. I just did like a couple pins at a time this way, a couple pins that way, flipped it to the opposite side, did a couple that way, and then did these sides. And then I just kept doing that all the way around until I had it completely pinned. I think I probably have pins like every centimeter or so. Like there's a lot in there. I just used stainless steel sequin pins, so they're short. You can get those at a craft store. I got mine at Joann's or Hobby Lobby, something like that. And then I flipped it over and I laced it. And this was my first experience lacing anything, but it went really well. And it really made the back look nice and professional, and it laid flat and it looked good. So I do want to show you the lacing thread that I used. I went and got some of this, I believe it's Gutermann. No, it's Sewology. Hand quilting thread in just a random color, because the weight is heavy. Like this is a thicker thread. It's not like a normal floss you would put through your sewing machine. It's pretty sturdy, which is why I got it, because you know when you're lacing, you're gonna pull it tighter. So I wanted it to be substantial and not something that was gonna snap. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head what the thread weight is. It's probably closer to like, I don't know, maybe like a 20 weight. If you're unfamiliar, thread weights are similar to like cross stitch fabric, in that the higher the number, the smaller the thread, right? So if you're stitching on a 40 count fabric, that's really tiny fabric threads. If I'm stitching with a 20 weight thread, that's a low number, so the thread's fatter. The thread I use in my machine is normally about a 60 to 80 weight. Some people will stitch or sew with as high as 100 weight. I think that's a little too thin for me. I don't know how much I trust that thread's sturdiness. So Anyways, I just wanted to show you, I got a really heavyweight thread to do the lacing on the back, and I just got this at a craft store. The colors are relevant because it's gonna be in the back. So I just started at one side, laced it all the way through, one continuous piece. Some people will cut lengths of thread and then tie them together to keep going. But I didn't want to do that because when I tightened it by pulling it back, I didn't want to have to fuss with the knots of attaching multiple lengths of thread together. So I just kept pulling a bunch of it off the spool, pulled it, laced it through, pulled more off the spool, laced it through, and then tacked it when I got to the end, tied it off, and then tightened it, pulling it back through the other direction. And then when it was nice and taut, kind of like a bowstring, but maybe not quite that tight, I tied that end off, turned the project, and then laced the other sides, like I folded those in over and laced those through, and it just laid so flat, you guys. I mean, look at it, it looks so good. The frame that I ordered came with the those metal tabs that you fold over. However, if you ever get a frame that doesn't have that, you can get those tab guns on Amazon, like super cheap. So, well, maybe not super cheap, but they're affordable. And then after that, I have some archival heavy-duty double-sided tape that's acid-free, which I put around the edges. And I have literally just a roll of craft wrapping paper, and I cut a big piece off and lay it on top of it, and X-Acto knife all the way around, add my framing hardware, and she looks great. I love her so much. She's beautiful. I love the frame. I chose not to do a matte because she's already got this very intricate border around her. So I just gave myself a little bit of extra space because obviously this border isn't totally a straight line. Like there's some 3D little pop outs in the corner. So yeah, she is on my wall. I texted a picture to my sister and she's like, hey, it only took me 20 years to see it finished. So I was like, well, thank you, I appreciate it. My brother is actually a professional framer. Like he frames high-end stuff for like rich people and athletes and like museums. Like he does that kind of framing. Anyways, and so I sent him my progress pictures and I was like, hey, what do you think? And he goes, good job, good for you. I was like, thank you, appreciate the support. So there she is, Lady of Shallot by Teresa Wentzler, all framed up, a very special FFO as essentially a gift from my sister Rachel. So now let's do whip updates. I have some good progress to show you. I'm very excited about the progress I made this month, so let's get into it. First and foremost, I think you guys have come to expect it. This is one of my focus projects. This is Woodland Castle. It's a kit by Designworks. It is also under the name Castle in the Clearing. Don't know why there's two names, but if you ever are hunting for it and you can't find it under Woodland Castle, you can find it under Castle in the Clearing most places. So here's a close-up of the picture. Very, you can see very confetti heavy, very backstitch heavy, but so cute, and it's been so fun to stitch. It is being stitched on a 14 count white Aida, 2/1 full cross. And then the good thing about Designworks kits is it uses DMC floss and they give you the number. Some kits won't give you the number. So they give you the number, which is good because in full transparency, I ran out of one of the colors. I ran out of 3371, that dark brown, which is the color that all the back stitching is done in. So that was very important that I have that. I just pulled some more out of my stash and I was able to keep going. So I'm glad that they use DMC. So if you are ever interested in a Designworks kit, just know that they use DMC floss. So here is a picture of what it looked like the last time I had just hit that third corner at the bottom, gotten a little chunk of it done, and I didn't have the back stitching in yet. And here it is now. Look it, I'm so excited. Now, ideally I would have gotten maybe to like here, because that would have probably been you know, that would have gotten me closer to being done at the end of July. Given that this is what's left, I'm not confident that I will have a July finish, but that's okay. It's totally fine. It's just an arbitrary deadline that I gave myself. But if I don't finish it in July, which I likely won't, I'll probably have an August or September finish. We'll cross our fingers for August. But let's look at what I was able to do this last time. So I kept stitching from about here, and I got to the middle. I officially hit like the middle column of stitches, and I just got a little bit past it with a couple colors, and I did all the back stitching for this section. So I did all this greenery here, got the mushrooms in, mouse is done, I got these mushrooms in, these guys are cute with these other little flowers, and this rabbit is all done. He finally has a face and a body, very cute. And then of course there are some French knots in the eyes. Y'all, this mouse, look at these French knots. He looks like he's seen something. He's seen something. Like he just watched a crime. Look how surprised he looks. I put the French knots where the patterns say they go, which is essentially right in the middle, but he looks like he's like there's a naked old woman just right in front of him, and he was like, oh God. So he made me laugh when I finished that. And then of course this bunny is much more just like appropriate for the piece. Very happy. I don't know what's going on with this mouse's life. So next time at the end of July, like I said, I would have liked a July finish. I just think this is far too much to do in 1 month. I could do it if I like basically only focused on this, but I have a lot of plans that I'm working on for the month of July. So I don't want to do that. So my goal is essentially just to do what's left, just to do like half of it and get it backstitched. And I'll go as far as, you know, I can without compromising time on the other pieces that I want to work on. So, but still, like, I mean, the end is right here. I'm so close and so excited about it. Isn't it gorgeous? I just love it. And I've been backstitching as I go. Can you imagine on a piece like this, if I had left the backstitching entirely to the end? That would have been a nightmare. I probably would have set the thing on fire. I don't dislike backstitching, but this is so backstitch heavy, and it's doing a lot of the heavy lifting in this pattern. So I'm glad I'm doing it as I go. That is my recommendation. If you hate it, do a little bit at a time. That way you don't have to dread it when it comes. Okay, so next time you'll see it, ideally I will have gotten probably to right in front of the hedgehog there. So it'll just be like the rest of this little pathway and some flowers and greenery. I think that'll be pretty quick. You know, the leaves like this are pretty color blocked. The background is pretty color blocked. So I think that'll be good. And then I'll just have this corner and that'll be done. Okay, the next piece I'm going to show you is my other focus piece, and that is this one here. This is Ophelia, designed by Mirabilia. Well, it's by Mirabilia, designed by Nora Corbett, but you get what I'm trying to say. And she is a looker. She's my first Mirabilia. I don't know why. I chose to dive in with like the most like stitch heavy Mira, or one of them anyway. But I really am enjoying this piece. If you're curious, I made it almost all the way to the end of this pattern before I realized there's no Krynic in this. There's not a single sparkly floss. There's only 2 Karen water lilies. So this is mostly DMC. I don't think I realized that that's kind of like not the norm until recently, but yeah. So if you're looking to getting into Mira like I did, this is a good place to start. If you have your DMC stash already, you can pull from that, and then you just have to get a couple of other fancy flosses and the beads and you're good to go. This is being stitched on a 32 count dark olive linen, 2/2 full cross using all the called for. And this is what it looked like the last time I showed it to you. I had just hit this corner, this bottom corner as well, which was really exciting. because it was nice to kind of get a better idea of like the visually what the dimensions of the piece are going to be. And I put in, you know, those lily pads. I put in some of the roses and some more dress. All right, and here is where she is now. So what I worked on, I did more, basically all of this. I did more of this dress. There's some leaves there in here. And then I went up. I finished out this section in here. And then I did almost all of this up here. So I kind of like went up that way. It's not like as much progress as I would have liked to see, but that's because I was really pushing it on Woodland Castle. So, but here's the thing. This is the piece I would like to have done by October. And October, when I chose that deadline, October was really far away. And I was like, oh, no problem. It's really creeping up on me now. So I'm starting to feel the pressure of getting this done. Because once I have all the stitching done, I still have to go back and do the beading. So here's the thing. Keep your fingers crossed for me. Because I still would like to have this done before October. So I can take it with me to the Mira retreat. And that may require a miracle. We'll see. Again, I mean, if it's not done, it's not going to be, like, I'm not going to cry about it. But I would still like to have it done so I can put it on the brag table and show something that I finished. So we're getting there. Next time you see it, I think my plan is to keep going this way and get to this border and then kind of work my way down towards the corner. Sometimes I make plans and sometimes I just toss them out the window and do whatever I want. So this one might be a surprise to me as well. But I think I want to get kind of this part done so I can get closer to this bottom corner. I really like the idea of finishing in the corner, right? You start in the corner, so we'll see. The next whip I was able to work on was like an unofficial focus project. That's this one here. This is the Magical Creatures Calendar by Clouds Factory. And I'm trying to keep up with the months as we progress throughout the year, but so which is why I'm calling it like an unofficial focus project. But if I ever did have to like sacrifice in order to meet like a deadline for one of the other pieces, then, you know, that's fine. I would rather do that with this piece. So all that to say, I'm still currently up to date. We've officially crossed the halfway point of the year. So here's June right here. It's the dragon. This is being stitched on a 16 count Lilac Aida 2/1 full cross using the called for colors, except I did add DMC light effects to some of the colors to make it stand out and sparkle. Well, here's where it was the last time you saw it. I had just finished May, which is essentially like the second row of boxes. I got all the way to the opposite border, and that was the wizard with his little workshop. Here it is now. So here is June with the dragon. I hope you can see all of his green is DMC light effects and green in here as well. There's some purple up here and then there. I put the light effects as well. The only change that I made was the color of the title June. It was in like a darker purple, the one that is on her dress, and I have been using the light effects with that one to make it stand out more, but I didn't want this to be the only title that had light effects in it, so I just switched it to this yellow, which you can obviously see. I love this little baby dragon. Very cute. And so the next month is July, which will go here. It's a smaller square. I'm very excited about doing that one because that one's the mermaid. Let me show you. This one right here. And she, I assume, is styled after Ariel. You know, she's got the red hair and the green fin, tail, whatever, and the purple bra. And Ariel is one of my absolute favorite princesses. That's a cute little connection. I'm not going to change the colors to make her look like the modern Ariel. I'm going to keep them as is, but if you If you've been with me a while, you might remember that I am working on Bella Filipina's Luna Mystica, and she is a skin conversion. I had just planned to do that, and then when I started it, that was also the same month that the trailer for the new Little Mermaid came out with Halle Bailey as the Little Mermaid, and it was just like serendipity that both of those mermaids are now Black and represent a minority community. So if you want to check that out, I do have progress shots on my Instagram, and unfortunately she won't be, because I'm sticking to this new plan of getting all these new starts every month. You won't see her again until next year when I start my rotation officially with one focus project a month. I kind of explained that more in my last video, and then of course I will explain it better when I get to the end of the year when I do my wrap up. So all that to say, if you are curious about my Bella Filipina, her photos are on Instagram, and this mermaid will stay as charted. So let me bring you in one more time. She's going right here, and then August is like a long one that goes down this way. So it's cool that I've crossed the halfway point here. So the plan obviously is if I can keep it up throughout the year, then by the time I get to December, I will have another finish. I have this next whip to show you with a photo that I will insert. I don't have a physical copy. It is a pattern I got off of Etsy from a shop called Landscapes Are Boring. And the pattern is this one here. This is called She Came Down in a Bubble Dug. You may recall, I believe it was my February update. Yes. Yes? Yeah. Where I started this pattern. My sister and I have this appreciation for the video where this dialogue came from, and another millennial took the dialogue and made it into a cross stitch pattern, and she asked that I stitch it for her birthday. I had started in February, and then I hadn't touched it for a while because once again I was like, oh, September's so far away, I have plenty of time, but it's like right behind us, you know what I mean? It's creeping up. So I was like, I need to get that out and work on it. I did. This is being stitched on an 18 count Aida in the color Vintage. It is a printed Aida, so the modeling is printed on the front. It's not dyed. And it's 2/1 full cross. I just pulled from Stash. I didn't have all the called for colors, so I just pulled similar colors. So the tones of each color are a little bit different. I just kind of started in the middle and worked my way to one of the sides, and got like the middle third almost completed. And here's where it is now. So what I had done this last time, I added the brew, and I finished this little motif of the Wicked Witch of the East. So now there's, this part up here is done and the broom is in. And then I started going up. This is the top corner. It's funny that it says right, and it is the top right corner. That's what it is. So this line says, and what was her sister? So I only have half of it in. And this line says, her sister was a witch, right? And then, so right in here is, I started, it's like a picture of a witch. And I started it, but I didn't finish it. And she is, so this is like her leg and a hand that's kind of behind her like that. And yeah, so I just did this corner up here. This pattern is tons of fun, but I will tell you it is very fractional stitch heavy. I think I said it was 2/1 full cross. It's mostly 2/1 full cross. There's a lot of quarter stitches in here as well. So that's worth keeping in mind if you hate fractionals. You may also notice that I did not give myself like a huge margin, and that was intentional. Like, I had this fabric on Stash, so I started it knowing that I was only gonna have like an inch on each side, and I'll show you why. So the way I plan to finish this, I had purchased a floating frame. Please ignore the random family, they will not be on there. So I'm going to cut it to probably about an inch all the way around. So there's already an inch on each side. I just need to trim it down to an inch on the top and the bottom. And then my plan is to interface the back so that the threads don't unravel, and then do that thing where you pull like 2 or 3 rows of the threads out so it creates like a fringe all the way around, right? So let's look at this side. So if I pull out like 1, 2, 3 rows, I'll have like a fringe from here to the edge, and then I'll put it in the floating frame like so, and it'll be floating in the middle. That's my plan, and I'm sticking to it. But like with my Ophelia, I really, you know, I let the deadline kind of creep up on me. This one, just like Ophelia, has more of like a concrete deadline because there's an event I'm trying to have it done in time for, which for this one is my sister's birthday. So I need to put the pedal to the metal. This one's gonna stay out until it's done. So you'll see it next month and in August as well. Hopefully I can have it done by the end of August. We'll see. Because her birthday's in the beginning of September. If it's a little late, she's not, what, is she gonna stop being my sister? No. So we'll see. But yes, this is going to stay out, and this is gonna be another push for a finish. I just have to go this way, finish this corner. There's one more hand. It says am I wrong? There's one of these little motifs from the other person he's talking to right here. I believe it says I'm gonna stab him. This says, and what was her sister? And it says a princess, and there's like a crown and a wand. And then there's some more down here, obviously. So that was, she came down in a bubble, Doug. Okay, the last whip I have to show, it's actually a new start. It's a whip and a new start, they're synonymous, but it's a new start. The new start that I had planned for the month of June is this one here. I got it off of an Etsy seller. I will not be linking it down below because I'm pretty sure the Etsy seller stole this artwork. Now, I've looked and looked and looked, and I cannot find the original artist. It's not credited on Etsy, obviously. And I found some other, the reason why I think it was stolen is because I found some other stuff in that shop that definitely was stolen. So I don't know, but so I can't find the original source to be able to say this is where it came from, but I purchased the pattern and I really love it, so I'm gonna stitch it. Obviously, this was titled Victorian Dollhouse on Etsy, so that's what I'm calling it. I am stitching it on an 18 count white Aida, and it's 2/1 full cross with the called for colors. And I started, it's a middle start. Let me fold this under. And this is the stairwell right in the middle. I tried really hard to get as much to get this done, but I mean, I was losing time and I needed to work on my other stuff. So as you can see, there is a ton of color changes in here. I think there's still 1 or 2 colors I haven't even used yet to finish off the stairwell down here. But there's like 4 or 5 colors just in this little lamp up here. Tons. I mean, the cat has a ton of colors. It's so cute. It's coming out great, and I've enjoyed working on this tremendously. It's just there is a lot of color just in this one little room. So this is gonna go into the rotation, and when I bring it out again, which again, I won't be for a while, I'm gonna finish up this room, do the border around it. There is like a checkered border around all the rooms. I need to do the back stitching, and then I'll decide from there which direction I'm gonna go, whether it's up, down, side, side. We'll see. It'll be a surprise for all of us. Again, this is going to be called my Victorian Dollhouse, and I'm not telling you where I got it from for reasons. That was all my whips. I think I got some pretty dang good progress on all of them, and that's why I have longer stretches of time between my videos than most other creators. I do once a month because I want to be sure that whenever I'm showing you my progress, I have a significant, like, noticeable amount on them, not only for me to see but for you to see as well. You know, sometimes you see people show off progress on a project, and it's like they put in one strand, which of course is progress, but it it doesn't look noticeably different than the last time they showed it, which is all fine and good. If you're that kind of person who does that, I'm not judging. I just prefer to see for myself with my work more progress made, because then I feel like it's, you know, it's worth it for me to show it to you and to film these videos, right? It's exciting whenever the creators are watching are getting closer and closer to finishing, because obviously we're living vicariously through each other. So next I want to show you my haul, and I did get a good chunk of stuff this month. A lot of it has to do with my plans for the rest of the year. So let me show you that. So this doesn't have anything to do with my plans for the rest of the year, but I wanted more needle minders. I had previously purchased needle minders from Flower Town Originals. I found her, she's a clay crafter. I found her on Instagram first, and then I went to her Etsy shop from there. And she makes beautiful clay pieces for other crafters. So she makes like needle minders, needle threaders, crochet hooks, buttons, pin trays, things like that. Just really fun stuff. And I bought 3 needle minders from her previously. I became obsessed because they're beautiful and they're strong, very strong magnets. So I bought some more. And here they are. I got 3 more. Y'all, look at these. Aren't they gorgeous? She makes all these canes with these, I guess that's what they're called, these canes with just plain old clay, and then, you know, layers it beautifully and stretches it out, so then they have these teeny tiny little tiles. And I'm so impressed. I really enjoy watching people craft with clay. It is a hobby that I tried to get into. I just didn't really have a talent for. But I'm so glad I found her channel, and I hope you guys go, or not her channel, I'm sorry. I'm so glad I found her Instagram and her Etsy, and I hope you guys go check it out too. She's just got some fabulous stuff, and I'm definitely going to keep ordering from her because I love these needle minders. The next thing I want to show you is actually like a little bit of like stitchy kindness, I guess. I have a coworker. She's one of the doctors that I work with at my clinic. And she follows me on Instagram, so she's always seeing me post like my reading updates, my cross-stitching updates, and my quilting updates. And she said she saw this bag at Half Price Books and had to buy it for me. And it's this bag here. And it says, "Go away, I'm reading," which is perfect. But it's in this beautiful like cross-stitch pattern. Like this is obviously not actually stitched, but she was like, there was nobody this is more perfect for. So she just surprised me with it one day, and I was like, Dr. John, what a woman you are for thinking of me like that. It's so sweet. I use reusable bags when I grocery shop. I'm also gonna be using this whenever I go to retreat. This is perfect. So I'm really gonna get good use out of this, and I'm just so tickled and touched that she thought of me when she saw this and purchased it. Next, I got a dimensions kit that I had been sort of toiling over for a while. It's been on my wish list for the longest. It's relatively new, so I've been seeing it everywhere. A lot of people recently have started working on it, and as I'm watching updates posted on like Instagram and stuff, I've just been like, okay, it's time to get it. Like the more I see it, the more I'm in love with it. And then I also had like a Michael's coupon, so I was like, it's time. And that is this kit here. This is the Dimensions Gold Collection, and this pattern is called Japanese Garden, and I just adore it. These cherry blossoms were the thing that originally drew me. They're so beautiful, these cherry blossom trees. And then like look at all this like watercolor kind of work. It's just beautiful. And this thing's enormous. It is, well, 16 by 12. So it's actually not as big as I'm thinking. My Woodland Castle is 14 by 18, so this is actually smaller than that. But it is stitched on a 16 count light blue Aida, so it's a bigger stitch count than my Woodland Castle, because that one's stitched on a 14 count. Here are the colors. They are the most beautiful colors. And so now I've added this to my stash because I've just been, every time I see it, I'm like, oh, so pretty. And then for whatever reason, I don't buy it. So I finally was like, get it, stupid. So I did. I bought a couple of Bella Filipina patterns. I absolutely love Bella Filipina. I love the style of their Fancy Lady. I'm not saying they're better or worse than Mira. Don't come at me in the comments, because I love Miras as well, and I have a ton of those too. But these two I wanted to get. I got a couple of them. The first one is a relatively recent release. This is Pontus and Thalassa, if I'm saying those names correctly. And I was excited when I saw this because it is a couple, obviously, or, you know, there's a male and a female, and you don't often see males represented in these kinds of projects, like, because obviously they're Fancy Lady projects, but it's nice to see, you know, a male figure in there as well. I know that Bella Filipina has another one. I think it's King Triton. There's another male mermaid, and he's a singular figure. And then, of course, like, there's always, like, Mira and Nora and Lavender and Lace. They have Santas, you know, there's those males, but I don't want to stitch Santa. I want to stitch a muscly mermaid with a man bun and a beard, right? The next one, I think I kind of should be slapped on the wrist for not having it sooner. And I'll tell you why. If you, again, have been following my Instagram, you will have seen that for some reason, over the past like 6 months or so, I've been followed by moths everywhere. Well, that's not even true, not everywhere. In front of my home, like right outside my front door, there's just been a ton of moths that have shown up recently. I think it's a seasonal thing. I have not seen them in the last couple, I haven't seen a lot of them in the last couple weeks. So maybe it was just that it was like springtime, but for whatever reason, a ton of moths have shown. I'm going to insert pictures kind of so you see what I'm talking about. A ton of moths, big ones, beautiful ones that I didn't even know existed, that I've never seen before in my life, have just suddenly popped up, and they're always like right outside my front door. I'm looking over this way because that's where my front door is. And I don't know what I'm doing, what's going on in the universe that has been sending them my way. Some people have said, you're the moth whisperer, you're mother of moths. Like, I love that. I just wish I knew what I was doing to attract them. I know it's not my porch light. Somebody suggested that. I know that's not it, because it's the same porch light that all my other neighbors have, and they're not going to their doors. And plus, most of them are showing up in the daytime, so I don't know. Anyways, the reason why I'm talking about all these moths is because the next pattern that I got was Ascent of the Moth Queen. It just felt right, right? She looks very much like a Luna moth, or at least the wings of her do, like with these tails and the little decorative elements at the ends. And a Luna moth was one of the moths that showed up. I didn't know Luna moths were like real. Like, I guess I knew, but like the way people don't know sometimes the narwhals are real until they see one, I guess. And it was that kind of thing. Like, I knew it was real, but I don't know. I was a non-believer. And then one was waiting for me when I got home one day, just hanging out. It hung out with me all day. So I got Ascent of the Moth Queen. It was like the universe was telling me something. I don't know what it was telling me. A lot of people are saying they mean good luck. They're guardian angels. And I'm like, that's great. Am I in danger? Because they're everywhere. I don't know. So I'm gonna one day stitch Ascent of the Moth Queen because I feel a little bit like a moth queen myself. Okay, so next I actually got like a ton of fabric, and I have to blame Laura from Stitching by the Shore for this, because she's the one who turned me on to Die For Fabrics. Her name is Kimberly, and she has an Etsy shop as well as an independent shop. She sells the most beautiful fabrics, and I have some starts planned for the rest of the year that I needed fabric for, so I stocked up. So first, I am going to be stitching this pattern here, which I had shown as part of my haul last video. This is Arranging Mushrooms by Ink Circles. I'm going to start this with Laura of Lala D Stitches. We had mentioned that we were going to start this in September together because we both have this pattern. And so I needed to get some fabric. So what I ordered was this one here. This is an 18 count Aida in the color Pewter Green by Tie4 Fabrics. I got a fat quarter, so I'm gonna have to cut it down because this is a very small pattern. It is 6x4. So I will have extra for another project, but that's going on there. The background in this one is a little bit more gray, but I love that this has more of a green undertone, but I still wanted to keep it in the same family. So I got fabric for that one, coming in September. And then in October, like I mentioned, I'm going to the Mira Stitch Retreat. I want to have my Ophelia finished by then, and at which point I would like to start this pattern here, which is Nora Corbett's Snapdragon. Her patterns tend to be a little bit smaller. For example, this one is going to be just about 5x10, maybe just under that. So rather than, she stitched on a French lace, which is like a white, an icy white, but I wanted to stitch her on more of a green undertone. So I got this piece here. This one actually came from 123Stitch. This is a 32 count Belfast linen in the color Serene. Serene is the color, and it is Picture This Plus. Picture This Plus. It's just a smaller piece, which is so cute. I think the fabric is so cute because it's like tinier. So this is going to be, it's more of a, I don't know if it's translating well, but it's like a mint green, and that's what she's going to be stitched on. So that's coming in October. Then in November, around Thanksgiving time, Beth from the Steadfast Stitcher and I are going to start this project together. I won this in one of her giveaways. This is Come to the Garden by Teresa Kogut, and I'm going to do a full conversion into like a nighttime scene. I just had a vision of that whenever I entered her giveaway. I think it's mostly inspired by this moth here. And so I got this fabric here from Tie4 Fabrics. It is a 36 count linen in the color Deep Cornflower Blue, which I think is really pretty. So I think the called for on this one is a 40 count. Yeah, 40 count. So this, my version is going to be a little bit bigger. I'll probably end up using like the whole, the cut of this fabric is 18x27. So it's a little bit bigger than a fat quarter. So yeah, that's going to be in November. And then another project that I want to start this year is this one here. I showed it a previous haul video. This is Winter Solstice by Joan Elliott. Obviously, I'm going to be starting it in the winter, or I would like to start it in the winter, on the winter solstice preferably. Now, there's only two colors. There's a 310 and like a gray, which you can see in some parts, and it's stitched on like an icier blue color, which is very wintry. But I'm going to go a slightly different direction. So I got this fabric here. This is called Perplexed. Oh, she didn't circle the things. But it's a 36. Yes, it's a 36 count linen. Linen? Yes, 36 count linen. Color Perplexed. So obviously it's gonna have a different look. You're probably thinking, Kelly, why are you doing purple? That's not really wintry. I'm doing purple because it's my favorite color and I want to, and you can't stop me. So this is the pattern that's gonna go with this fabric. And I'm going to start this in December, probably on winter solstice, which I think is the 21st, somewhere around there this year. That's all my haul. That was tons of haul, I know. But I wanted to make sure I had the fabric I needed to start the projects that I had planned to for the rest of the year. So I got on my haul, I got a little bit extra, I got on my fabric, I got a little bit extra in patterns. The last thing I want to show you is my plans for next month, for July. Like I said, I've got some big plans. So the project that I had planned in my January 1st video to start for July is this one here. This is called Golden Gate Avenue by Kooler Design Studio. If you are familiar, I love Kooler Design Studio patterns. I love Kooler Design Studio. I have been itching to start this because I don't currently have a Kooler Design Studio in my rotation, and it's been upsetting to me. So in the future, I'm definitely going to start more of these, but this is the one that I'm going to start in July, and I will be stitching it on a 18 count white Aida. And then also I'm going to do a second start with the because it's my birthday hashtag, because I want to. I have a bunch of kits, mostly Dimensions kits and Design Works kits that are just collecting dust in my stash. So if I don't start them, I can't enjoy them, right? So I pulled this out, this one here. This is his Dimensions Gold in her garden. And I've trimmed it up because there's a bunch of extra info there. It is a full coverage, and I fell in love with it the second I saw it. A lot of people have posted updates on it, and I decided it's time to get her out. Time to start her. So this is gonna be because it's my birthday start. Okay, guys, that's everything. I finally got to the end. If you got to the end with me, thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it. I am gonna go to lunch with my parents, go shopping, celebrate my birthday, and then come back here and get to stitching, because I've got some lofty goals for the next month, for the rest of the year, really. So again, thank you so much for being here. If you have any questions at all, of course, drop me a comment. I have my email address listed as well. You can reach out to me on Instagram. I will have as much as humanly possible linked in the description box down below. And I think that's everything. I hope you guys have a good crafty stitchy month of July. It's getting hot down here in Texas. It's hitting the triple digits already. So stay cool, and I will talk to you guys again at the end of July. Bye.